Welcome to 102.5 WFUK Chinaris Radio. Chinaris Talk is a pre-recorded. There is no live audience. There's no other people in the studio because we know you. We don't trust you. You guys like to shoot people. This will be a weekly broadcast. The two ministers, Brother Fish and Brother Caveman, will bring you the news from the Resurrection Syndicate server. And here we go. I had the opportunity today to bring Juju Madness in the studio, where we will talk about fires. This will be a weekly edition. We'll give you hints and tips for the wasteland. Next up, the interview for Juju Madness. Limbering up in the studio, limbering, limber, blah, blah, blah. Alrighty. Here we go. Alright, we're back now at 102.5 WFUK. This is the radio of the Resurrection Syndicate, Chinaris Radio. Today in studio we have Juju Madness. The topic of discussion today is how do you keep warm, how do you cook your food? Chinaris is an awfully cold place. A lot of us are awfully hungry. So we see Juju has a great demonstration model of a fireplace set up here in the studio. And what is your preference, Juju? Do you cook under cover? Do you cook out in the open? Where do you light your fires?
Well, you see, I like to cook my fires in the woods.
In the woods, hiding in the woods.
Mhm.
I like to cook mine in the cabins with the fireplaces, so it comes out the chimney all nice and neat. Can't say that's very safe, but that's what I do. So it's a nice demonstration model you have there. So I guess we could talk to the listeners out there about the ins and outs of fire starting if you're new to the DayZ atmosphere, the Chinaris survival that we are all living in. You need firewood from a tree, so an axe is definitely a must when you're trying to survive the mean streets of Chinaris. A knife is also a must in my opinion because you should always use a hand drill kit. Matches are a waste of space in my opinion. Juju, do you prefer matches or a hand drill kit?
Whatever's in my hand.
Okay, so you're a gal of convenience. A gal of convenience. Without a pack of matches, you will need your knife, a hunting knife, a kitchen knife, or a survival knife. You will use that knife to go to a tree and whittle off bark. If you're going to make a fire, you need 2 pieces of bark. A lot of people will use paper, but bark is an easy way to get by. Bark and a small stick will make what is in Juju's hand right now. That is a hand drill kit. It is the best, easiest, and most space-efficient way to start a fire. Juju, would you do the reckless honors and light that fire on our table?
Uh-huh.
I don't recommend destruction of our studio, but we're going to do it for listeners' sake. And the table is definitely burning. Hand drill kit will get your fire lit. You need 1 log and 1 piece of bark or 1 piece of paper to get your fire going. I suggest before you do anything else with your fire, after you've made your fireplace, add 3 more logs. That way you'll have a long, full fire. And if you're like us, we store lots of meat in the meat barrel that is always needing roasting. You roast your meat with a long stick. You take your meat and you place it in the inventory box on the stick. And then you can park it and roast your meat. If you like it normal, you can let it go around 1 cycle. If you like your meat extra dark, do twice, but I guarantee you have a good chance of puking. Now, if you're like me, and you want to stay on the down low, you get yourself a propane cooking stove and an empty pot. If you have a piece of fat, you can add fat and a few pieces of meat, and that will cook your meat in a good, nice way. You'll get more nutrients from it. If you only have meat and no fat, fill your pot with water, throw your meat in, and boil it. It's secretive. Nobody sees. Nobody knows. I personally think the pot would have been a better idea in the studio, but the smoke alarms will go off soon. Good thing the sprinkler system is not working.
Good fun.
Good fun in the waste. So that is our survival lesson of this week's radio broadcast. How to start a fire, how to cook, how to survive. Fire will also keep you warm and help dry your clothes. And on a dark night, in a lonely studio, in the wasteland, it will light up the dark and show you the madness. Thank you for listening. We're going to continue to jam. Juju set my table on fire. Juju set my table on fire. We should have used a cooking stove. One more hint for you potheads out there. If you're growing marijuana, cook it. Fry it up with some fat. You'll get more nutrients, more buzz. Trust me. You want to cure your weed.
That's for sure.
Quick word from a forceful participant. Shelby Company Ltd. Loans, gambling, horse races, and much more.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
We're sending help immediately, Mrs. Fletcher.
Has this happened to you? Have you been in the waste alone? Injured? Sick? Drank pond water? Ate till you shit yourself? Tried to play with a blood bag, didn't know what you were doing? Keep passing out. Any of these issues can be fixed by stabilizing yourself, logging your simple ass out, and calling the Angels of Death Medical Corps. The Angels of Death Medical Corps will come and get you and hopefully explain how not to get in the situation you got in. They are located in the colony at the medical center. Log out, stabilize, and log out. Alright, we're back in studio. I have Brother Fish sitting across from me. How are you today, brother? Minister Fish. Together, we are real life brothers. I'm Brother Caveman. He's Brother Fish. We're both wasteland ministers. We have decided to bring our disciples to the wastelands of Chinaris after running out of supplies in Livonia, so we're here to sell ads, announce the news, and build our hunt lodges in Livonia. My brother and I, we both have very different forms of survival, and we'll be highlighting that through this news series.
Similar in ways.
Similar in ways, different. I guess we take a different approach to. I like to butter him up. He likes to serve them with butter. So we are formerly of the Black Mountain Mushroom and Provision Company, formerly of the Rebellion, formerly of the Nation of Severgrad. Since then, we've been bums.
Long live the Northeast Alliance.
Yeah. Since then, we've been bums in Livonia. And now we come to bring knowledge of survival, news from the server, and occasionally a good friend in to entertain you. Speaking of that, I can hear somebody.
Ways than one.
Can hear somebody shaving out in the hallway. Would you like to introduce our other brother?
Yes, this is a brother Star Killer here. I'm gonna bring him on
Good
and
evening.
introduce him.
Star Killer's one of our best mates. He's been with us since the Mushroom and Provision Company. With us through the Rebellion. With us through the Nation. He's been with us through all of our adventures in Livonia. We had to bring him here. Besides being a good friend and a great survivor, he is also a qualified paramedic. Well,
And our best hunter.
Yes.
qualified by our group. I'd say he keeps us going.
I'm the killer of Juju.
He does kill
the
several
killer.
members repeatedly, but you know, the wasteland. Well,
We always could use the meat.
yeah. We'll get into how you get reborn in the wasteland later. Right now, we'll keep the religious talk to a minimum, eh?
Yeah.
So we've got a catchphrase here. Mine is, "Don't survive like my brother."
And mine is don't survive like my brother.
So you'll learn we have different approaches to different situations in the wasteland. And upon coming here, we realize that there are two factions so far. We have a colony forming. This seems to be I don't know, what would you say, an attempt at rebuild, maybe something like the Nation of Severgrad
I'd say
used to be.
some kind of a civilization on the coast. A little more civilized, a little more organized. Rooms for rent. Protection from the PD. PD seem to be good folks, from what we can tell so far. Haven't really met too many people from the colony, though. Have you, brother?
I have met a hunter named Bongs. Bongs seems like a really swell fellow. We traded jackets and talked about the medics at the hospital. So the colony just provide a hospital. They also provide, like he said, police services and rentals. There's a trader. And that would be the colony, located in the lumber mill on the northeast side of Chinaris. The other group we've heard of, if you couldn't tell by the theme music we're playing in the background, is a rough bunch of blokes, the Peaky Blinders.
The Peaky fucking Blinders.
They seem to be
Good folks.
on the face of things, a legitimate business. They loan money. They run gambling, betting on events. I heard where they used to be involved in horse racing. You're from their neck of the woods. What do you got to say, Star? You know the Peaky fucking Blinders?
Why, I've heard a lot about the Peaky fucking Blinders. But they diddled me out of a fucking caravan. It wasn't for me. It's for me ma.
Was it a specific color? I know your mom's partial to that.
It was a candy apple red. She likes the red colour. Me, I like my hot pink.
Oh, I'd have never figured you for a hot pink guy.
You haven't seen him in his hot pants yet?
We can.
Just see it. My ass is like jello when I start running down the beach.
For the listeners, you should be lucky he hasn't changed in yet, and you wouldn't be able to see it. If you see a man in hot pink shorts,
taster. I'll give you a little taster. Look at that. Look at that ass.
oh, this is a spectacle.
That's gorgeous. Yes,
Look at that.
You must do a lot of hiking. That's
Give
what
it a
you.
wiggle.
Running from bears and wolves will give you an ass like that. So earlier today I interviewed Juju Madness and we discussed fires and how to start a fire, most efficient way to pack it, how to hide it. You guys have any opinions on burning things?
That's something you can cook on there.
Lots of gasoline.
Gasoline?
Yeah.
Gasoline, yes, makes a good fire. You can always use sticks to make a good fire. Stuff that you can burn on there. Let me see.
I figured you would say the bones of your enemies, but
No, I don't like the bones.
for you listeners, I'm
shit,
gonna describe.
I just fell off the table. Shit.
Have you
Did
been
have a
in?
drink before you
Have you
came
been in the whiskey?
I've had a little bit. Let me just go freshen up.
So for the listeners, if you haven't met Brother Fish is a tall man in a great helm. He carries a long sword, and if he takes his pants off, he might actually surprise you. He's an intimidating figure.
Today, though.
I went to freshen up and I forgot where to put my fucking gloves.
You lost your
You
pants
didn't
too.
wipe your ass again, did you?
You didn't shit in the hallway,
I
did
think
you?
I might.
There's a bathroom down the way, folks. I don't know why people keep doing this.
I left
I'm a
a good
filthy-
one outside when I came in the other day.
I best go find my clothes because I'm getting a bit cold here.
And since we're on air, I'm going to go ahead and ask for a on-air excuse for why there were bones and guts behind my console when I started up this morning.
Well, there was a little bit of madness left there. We had to clean it up, and she needed to be reborn. She was misbehaving a little.
I
Well,
shot her in the face with a Vega.
we might as well explain this process to the folks out there. Our group, the Disciples, we have a little process of healing and rebirth in the apocalypse that we like to go through with people.
It involves this.
My job is to teach you to survive, feed yourself, keep from being sick by getting you sick, getting you injured, getting you low on health, showing you the actual struggle so that you need to do it for yourself. Fish's job is for you to be reborn into the wasteland. I don't know if you're a
Explain how that's
spiritual
done?
person, and I don't know if before the apocalypse you watched the movie Groundhog Day. But once you join our religion, it becomes a lot like that. If you're a true believer, you will allow fish to kill you, and miraculously, you will show back up on the shores, walking on the water. If you'll run back,
Amen to that.
we will consecrate you in the apocalypse, give you your gear, and you will be a true survivor. I don't know how it works.
True survivors
I am just
will
a man
survive
of
in
faith.
a different way.
I cannot explain to you how we end up on the beach every time. It must be a higher power. So our religion was formed. We've dropped all others. And we worship the apocalypse because it keeps bringing us back into this shit, folks. So if you see fish, just understand, being reborn is not the end of things.
Tickle, 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 young bear fish. Tickle, tickle. You better put that fucking button knife down before I fucking shove it up your ass. See you later.
Alright, folks, I think we're running up on a station break. We're going to pause for the cause. Hopefully these two won't box it out in the hallway, because last time sucked, and this morning I found bones and guts behind my console. So, taking a station break. This is 102.5 WFUK. This is Chinaris Talk with the Minister Brothers and Brother Starkiller.
Shelby LTD for your gambling and horse racing and loans backed by the Peaky fucking Blinders. Apply today.
When living around the colony, for any hunting supplies or fresh roasted meat, head north towards Chelm or check your local traders for Bong's meat. Bong smokes before he gets the meat. Alright, we're going to conclude our broadcast today with a little bit of solidarity with those fighting it out with the popo in the streets. That was Maggie's Farm. Brass Against the Machine, covering Bob Dylan's track that still stands today. They pepper spray and nightstick you. Hit 'em back. 102.5 WFUK. Blah, blah. Bumpy bumper something.
Baby bottles bumper buddy.